Hello and welcome to this overview of the Microsoft Excel User Interface Basics. Microsoft Excel is a very powerful spreadsheet application that is widely used for a wide range of tasks, from simple data entry to complex financial modeling. Now, understanding its user interface is very crucial for the purpose of being able to be efficient and productive in your work. So in this tutorial, we will be exploring the various essential elements of Excel's user interface. So I will attempt to cover quite a number of activities here. We will look at opening Excel. We explore the ribbon, what it is, and the quick access toolbar, workbook and worksheets. And then we'll move on to cells, formula bars, status bar, sheets, tabs, and then we conclude by just highlighting some of the important talking points that will actually emerge from this particular presentation or demonstration for that matter. Okay, so we begin by obviously opening Excel. In order to open Excel, usually you would go to the start bar, right? And when you click on it, you should be able to select the relevant application. And I do have mine open already, as you can see, right? So, but in some cases, of course, your platform can be slightly different, and you'd have to figure out where your start option is, or in some cases, you can just search for the application and you should be able to find it. Okay, so yeah, but otherwise, generally speaking, Excel is quite easy to find. And once you open it, it gives you the blank worksheet that looks pretty similar to this. But of course, I have to remove my intro out of the way so that you can have a much clearer view of the worksheet itself. So now once you are in there, what you'll notice is that there are common features that Excel tends to have, and this begins with the ribbon. Now, the ribbon is one of the most prominent features of Excel's user interface, and it's located at the top of the window, and it's divided into multiple tabs, as you can see right there. The most commonly used ones are the home, insert, page layout, formulas, data view, data, and of course the view, which is actually there. Now, these are the commonly used ones, but of course, depending on how much you actually use Excel, you may find that you spend more time with review rather than view itself, or in some cases, if you need a lot of help, you can go to help. And again, it also depends on which version of Excel you're actually using. So there could be some slight variations as you actually attempt to use in Excel. But in general, you find that home, insert, page layout, view are very, very common indeed. Okay, so now immediately above the ribbon, you actually see the quick access toolbar. Now, this toolbar allows you to customize and access frequently used commands and functions. You can add your preferred commands so that it's easier for you to access them from time to time whenever you work in Excel. Now, for example, here you can see there is actually an arrow, a list arrow. When you hover your pointer on it, it says Customize Quick Access Toolbar. So if you click on it, it gives you a wide range of options that you can actually add for quick access. Say, for example, instead of you having to go to File, New to open a new file, you can always say New right there. So you can actually select those kind of activities that you tend to do all the time in Excel, where you want to shorten the pathway to activating them, right? So even sorting, ascending or descending, and so forth. And of course, you can also include things like the quick print. Whenever you want to print, you instead of going to File, Print, you can just access it right there. That's a very, very powerful tool that one can actually use. Okay, so workbook. What is a workbook really? Generally speaking, when we think about Excel files, we always refer to them as workbooks, in that they have multiple pages within them, right? So in Excel, you can actually work with workbooks, And of course, within workbooks, we find there are multiple worksheets that you can actually use. So a workbook is like a file that can contain one or more worksheets. So a worksheet is a grid, of cells where you input, manipulate, and analyze your data. You can have multiple worksheets within a single workbook, and these are represented as tabs at the bottom here, right? So here you can see by default, normally you begin with one, and you can see there's a plus sign here, and there are different ways of actually adding more worksheets to your file. You can either just click on this plus and it adds another, right? Another worksheet. And of course, you can actually rename it. You can give these worksheets names. And to do that, you can either double click on it and just override what is there. Or you can right click on it and you can rename it. So there are actually different ways. In this case, I say test one, test, right? And you can actually move them around. You place your mouse button down here and you can actually move it in direction. So you can actually rearrange your worksheets, right? Okay, now the other a fundamental building block of Excel worksheets are called cells. You see all these boxes that you see here? So cells are rectangular boxes that you see are formed by the intersection of rows and columns. So we have rows and columns, right? And where they meet, that's actually a cell. And because they are unique identifiers of each box that you see here, we refer to these as cells that will have cell references. You can always see here, for example, you say B2, I'm of there, C2 is simply telling me that the column letter is C and the row number is 2. So where they intersect, it actually becomes the cell reference. So that way we can actually reference that particular cell from wherever we are actually going to be. For example, if I had 2 here and I know it's actually in C2, so if I say equal sign and I say C2, for example, you can see that I'm actually able to read from in that particular cell, or I can enter the equal sign and click on that particular cell and it will type in the C2 for me, right? So it's a very, very powerful tool that enables you to manipulate your data depending on which cell they are currently resident. Okay, so now you can either enter your data in that particular cell, right? Or you can actually enter the data, let's say, in the formula bar, which is actually up there. So again, what are formula bars? You'll find there's always going to be a formula bar right there where I am right now. And this is where you can enter and edit formulas and functions. And formulas are used to perform calculations and manipulate data, making Excel a powerful tool for complex tasks. Right? For example, when you want to do some formulas, right? So I can as well type in 12 in there, right? So I can actually type the value in the cell itself, or I can actually use the formula bar to actually do that. And so many times when you're actually creating formulas, it's actually a good place to go and do some modifications. Or of course, you can always just go and double click on that particular cell. It puts you into edit mode as well. So you're actually able to do those changes as well. That's a very, very interesting and very useful feature in Excel. Now the next one is actually status bar. Status bar is always down here. It's very, very important to pay attention to it because status bar is at the bottom of the, it's actually the bottom of the Excel window. It provides information about the current state of your worksheet, such as the average sum, count of selected cells. You can also change display settings like zoom and view options from the status bar. So there's just so much you can also do. And also something to pay attention to. You see here, when you are in any cell at any given time, right, if you're not currently doing anything at all, down here it will show you that it's actually ready. But if I double click on this particular cell, it tells me that I'm supposed to enter something, right? So I can enter 12 and then I press enter. And if I go back to it and I double click on it again, This time it recognizes there's actually value in that particular cell. It's now saying, do you want to edit it? When I double click on it, you notice that so many functions, on all these toolbars here, they're actually deactivated. They are not available. But if I use the escape, they are available again. So edit mode tends to disable quite a number of functions there because it wants the exclusive use of that particular cell. So it's another very interesting feature that many times it's quite easy to overlook it. Now, what about Sheets tabs? Right, again, I've already demonstrated, how you are able to add some additional worksheets here, right? For example, you can use the plus to add another new sheet to your workbook, or you can even right click here and you can also say insert, and by default it goes to worksheet as well. So go ahead and say okay. You can see it can also add some additional worksheets. So again, yet another opportunity to insert some additional worksheets to your workbook. Yes, you can also navigate between these worksheets by clicking on their respective tabs at the bottom of the window, and you can also do a variety of functions where, for example, again, I've already demonstrated how you can actually add some additional worksheets. You can also delete or rename those worksheets, or you can reorganize them as I've also demonstrated. Now, you can also use a shortcut to do that. So you can just right click, on the worksheet, and you are actually able to see that you're able to delete it. You can insert an additional one, as I've already demonstrated, or you can rename. Right, so you can change the name of that particular worksheet, or you can just double click on it in order to rename it. You can move or copy. So again, this is another shortcut that you can actually use. So again, more features that can really come in handy. Right, so I'm actually thinking of another option. Under insert here, you are also able to insert a worksheet there as well. In addition to inserting rows and columns and so forth, right? You are also able to insert additional worksheets as well. Right, so again, many features that's actually available in Excel. And because Excel has so much functionality within it, at times it tends to be a little bit confusing because there's so much more you can actually do. And so it's both a blessing and a curse, right? If you actually look at it. Because, for example, when you're in a cell like this, right? So you can see your pointer changes all the time, right? If it's a thick white cross, if I click inside a cell, it selects it. But if I place my pointer on the borders, right, of that particular cell, you'll see that it changes to a different feature. So when it's actually like this, it means I can actually move what is in that particular cell. So let's say, for example, I have 12 in here, right, and I select it and I place my pointer here, I can move, right? Or now, if I place my pointer on the bottom right-hand corner, it's a different feature. That means that I can actually copy, right? So because of that, there's just so much you can actually do in Excel. At any given time, when you're in a cell at a specific location, it means something totally different. So because of that, there's just so much you can do with it. Also, at the same time, it can also be so confusing, right? As I've also demonstrated earlier, if I double click in a cell that contains some information that takes me into edit mode, someone can actually get stuck here and say, oh, well, I'm not able to do anything on my computer because all the other functions are not working. It's because you are in edit mode. Once you hit the escape key, you can see that everything else is actually being released as well, right? So these are some very small features in Excel that can really make a huge difference, and can at least improve your productivity when you're actually working with data, manipulating data, preparing reports, lots of data where you need some formulas, and also do need to do a lot of formatting, things like that. Otherwise, That concludes our overview of the Microsoft Excel user interface basics. Now, Excel offers a vast array of features and capabilities, as you've already seen, which you can actually use for data analysis and manipulation. Now, understanding its user interface is the first step in becoming proficient with this powerful tool. Now, as you become more and more familiar with Excel, you'll find yourself creating and managing complex workbooks with ease. So start exploring, practice, and unlock the full potential of Microsoft Excel. Otherwise, that concludes my demonstration. I hope you found this very helpful. Again, as usual, like the video, share the video, and comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, and bye for now.